Picture this. It's late. The house is quiet. The notifications have stopped. The day's distractions are gone. And for some reason, she's back in your mind again. Not because you saw her photo, not because someone mentioned her name, just because something reminded you of the way she laughed when she was genuinely happy. The way she looked at you when you were still becoming who you wanted to be. The way being around her felt like coming up for air after holding your breath all day. And suddenly you're thinking, why am I still thinking about her? It's been years. I loved other women after her. So why does this one still stay with me? Here's the truth most people get wrong. The woman a man never gets over isn't always the most beautiful woman he ever dated. She's not always his first love. She's not even necessarily the woman he spent the longest time with. More often than not, she's the woman who made him feel something about himself that he has never been able to replace. And if you've ever wondered why certain people leave footprints on the heart that time never completely erases, you're about to understand exactly why. This isn't about obsession, it isn't about fate, and it isn't about living in the past. It's about understanding what really stays with us long after relationships end. Let's get into it. Most people believe men never get over a woman because they never stopped loving her. But the real truth is deeper than that. What stays with us isn't always the person. It's the experience. It's the version of ourselves that existed when we were with them. Your nervous system doesn't store relationships like a photo album. It stores feelings, safety, connection, belonging, hope. And sometimes, a woman becomes attached to all of those things at once. That's why years later, a man can barely remember specific conversations, but still remember exactly how he felt sitting next to her. Because beneath the surface, human attachment isn't just about love. It's about identity. And the women men never truly get over are often the ones who became part of who they believed they could be. Here's the part no one talks about. Most couples spend years together without ever feeling genuinely understood. They feel loved, they feel wanted, but not truly seen. The woman a man never forgets is often the one who understood what was happening beneath the surface. She noticed the pressure he never talked about, the fears he hid, the insecurities behind the confidence. While most people only responded to his behavior, she understood his experience. And that changes everything. Imagine the difference. One partner says, "You're being distant lately." The other says, "Something feels heavy on you. Talk to me." Same man, completely different feeling. One creates pressure, the other creates safety. And when a man feels truly seen, something inside him quietly says, "I don't have to perform here." That's the kind of feeling that lingers for years. This is where it gets really interesting. Most people support success. Few people support potential. There's a difference. The woman a man never gets over is often the one who saw who he could become before the evidence existed. Before the promotions, before the confidence, before the wins. She saw possibility. And here's what nobody explains. When someone believes in you during your uncertain years, they become woven into your story. Not because they rescued you, not because they completed you, but because they witnessed your becoming. Imagine a man saying, "I don't know if this will work." Most people respond, "Maybe you should be realistic." She responds, "I know you're scared, but I also know what you're capable of." Years later, he may forget the exact words, but he'll never forget the feeling. Because belief is one of the rarest gifts a person can receive. Not excitement, not drama, not unpredictability. Peace. Most people confuse intensity with connection, but intensity and intimacy are not the same thing. A roller coaster is intense. A home is peaceful. And the older a man gets, the more he understands the difference. The woman he never gets over is often the one whose presence calmed his nervous system. The one who didn't turn every disagreement into a battlefield. The one who didn't make love feel like something he had to earn every day. When life was chaotic, she felt steady. When he was overwhelmed, she felt safe. Her brain wasn't constantly asking, "Are we okay?" His brain wasn't constantly asking, "What did I do wrong now?" There was room to breathe. And when you experience that kind of emotional safety, it's hard to forget. Because peace is addictive in the healthiest possible way. And this is the one most people never figure out. Everyone wants to be loved, but what people secretly crave is acceptance. Most couples fall into the pattern of only showing the polished version of themselves, the strong version, the attractive version, the successful version. But real intimacy happens when the mask comes off. The unforgettable woman is often the one who saw the flaws and stayed connected anyway. Not because she ignored them, because she understood them. He showed weakness, she didn't lose respect. He admitted fear, she didn't pull away. He revealed the parts he was ashamed of, she didn't use them against him later. And here's what changes everything. His nervous system learned, I can be fully known and still be loved. That's a feeling many people spend their entire lives searching for. Most people think relationships are remembered through milestones, the trips, the anniversaries, the big moments. But memory doesn't work that way. The moments that stay are often the smallest ones. Coffee on a Sunday morning. A random conversation in the car. Laughing so hard neither of you can finish a sentence. The woman a man never gets over is often the one who made ordinary life feel meaningful. Not because every day was exciting, because every day felt real. She was present, she was engaged, she was there. And years later, when he remembers her, it isn't the expensive dinner he misses. It's the Tuesday afternoon that somehow became unforgettable. Because intimacy isn't built in the big moments, it's built in the small ones. The ones most people overlook. Here's the difference most couples miss. Demanding change creates resistance. Inspiring growth creates transformation. The unforgettable woman didn't constantly communicate, "You're not enough." She communicated, "I see more in you." Those are very different messages. Most people criticize because they're frustrated. But beneath the surface, criticism often feels like rejection to the person receiving it. She understood that. Instead of attacking his flaws, she called forward his strengths. Instead of controlling him, she challenged him. Instead of fixing him, she inspired him. And something in him quietly registered, I want to become better around her. That's when growth stops feeling like pressure and starts feeling like purpose. And this may be the biggest reason of all. Timing matters. Not because love is timing, because memory is. Sometimes a woman becomes unforgettable because she was present during a chapter that changed everything. The struggling years, the rebuilding years, the healing years, the years he discovered who he really was. She became connected to a transformation, to a season, to a story. And even if the relationship ended, part of her remained attached to the man he became. Not because he couldn't move on, not because he never loved again, but because some people become landmarks in our lives. They remind us where we were when everything changed. And those landmarks stay with us forever. At the end of the day, the woman a man never truly gets over isn't necessarily the woman he loved the most. She's the woman who touched something deeper. His identity, his growth, his sense of safety, his understanding of what connection could feel like. This isn't a checklist. It's an invitation to understand what creates lasting emotional impact between two human beings. Because when you understand these patterns, you stop chasing intensity and start building something real. You stop looking for perfection and start creating connection. You stop waiting to be understood and start becoming someone who understands. And that's where real love begins. The people we never forget aren't always the ones who stayed forever. They're the ones who changed us in ways that never left.